Hi, and welcome to a postcard painting video. Hi, my name is Escobar. I'm a storyboard artist on the Simpsons television show. I've been working on the show for over 25 years now, and I'm here to empower you. So this time around, I'm going to be painting this postcard, as you can see it here. So this was very challenging because it took me, and I'm going to say this a bazillion times in the video, so very quickly I'm going to just repeat the thing, but I wasn't very confident going into this one as I usually am, and I'll explain it in the video. But on top of that, I actually get a little personal, mostly talk a little bit about my dad, and it's all art related, so it's not like I'm talking about this stuff and it has nothing to do with the industry or animation or art or any of that stuff. That's part of this process video. Will also get into some of this stuff, talking about failure, talking about having things that you're not, insecurities when you're going into a painting, learning, accepting failure from the start, like just also trusting the process, hoping for the best. That sort of, like, there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to drawing and painting and doing things. So it's a little, I talk a little bit about all that stuff. So hopefully this is going to be informative and helpful, and hopefully you'll get a lot out of it. And so let's get started. All right, so here I have this drawing. I did this drawing. This is a kind of difficult difficult position or difficult pose, straight on looking up. I tried to so one of the things I was trying to do here with this drawing is to try to stylize it and make her look more cartoony and appealing in an angle that is very not very traditional kind of, and I'm not 100% sure I succeeded. I'm going to try to finish doing this piece, and I hope that it all works out, because the drawing itself. See, here's the thing. I didn't want to just keep working and reworking and reworking and reworking this face, because eventually it was just gonna, it was going to destroy the drawing, the paper, I should say. So I decided instead to just go in and paint it and hope for the best, I guess. So I got it to the point where I'm okay with it, with the drawing, and I'm gonna try to now paint it and see what happens. So I'm gonna start just putting in the paint. So one of the things that I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to start doing some postcards with some all my postcards have had extreme lighting in it, very dramatic lighting. But this time I'm thinking I want to add top lighting, like lighting, like looking up into the heavens, and this is my first attempt at doing something like that, where the lighting is very extreme. I'm mixing my paints here. I want to still keep the blue green from the last couple of paintings, because I just really like that color. I really like that. Oh boy, I don't want that. The buzzing. That's what happens when you don't put your phone on Do Not Disturb. I have my phone on so that I could look at the reference. I just totally buzzed all over the place. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna start putting in the darks. In the core areas, and shocking, it's actually okay. It looks okay. Hooray. It actually makes it work. Oh my gosh, I was so worried. Trust the process, I guess. Such an ugly drawing, and I couldn't fix it in the drawing phase. And by fix it, I mean it needed the values, and I didn't want to put in the values with pencil. It defeats the purpose of putting it in with pencil. You needed the ink. I mean the ink. The paint. That's the entire point of a painting, right? Like, you needed painting, but it looks so ugly in the pencil stage. But once you put the lighting in with you start putting in the values and stuff, it starts to come together all on its own. I'm gonna soften some of this stuff. You just never know with painting. Sometimes you just hope. There we go. It's nice. But it definitely needs some more. It needs to get a little darker. So now now that I've kind of got all the values kind of put in place, I'm gonna start adding a little bit more dark. Especially in the areas that are supposed to really be dark, like especially like here underneath underneath the neck. I mean, underneath the head. And just adding just the right, just more dark. This main face, part of the face, is the center of interest anyway. This is generally where the darkest darks should be. Except here, not too much here, not too much in the, like here on the, for like the for the eyelashes and stuff, but not so much here. It's actually even darker down here than it is higher up because of the way that light works, you know. It gets darker as it goes down, obviously. And it doesn't help that my blue is running out, and I'm gonna have to add more. It's barely there. I guess I should have. In the previous video, you saw me put the paint into the palette from the tube, and it wasn't all that much. Apparently, it wasn't enough. I have to say that this drawing, this painting, I've been kind of dreading doing it because of the artwork, the line work, the drawing itself. I was really unhappy with it, and I went over it over and over and over, and I made adjustments and adjustments, and I erased, and then I adjusted, and I erased, and I adjusted, and I erased, and no matter what I did, I was never really all that happy with the results. And I was thinking to myself, it's just going to be, why am I painting this on camera in front of everybody when I don't think that it's going to work? And then I was like, well, I don't have a video for my channel. First, I need to make a postcard. Second, I need content. I need to show that this stuff can happen. Like, even if I mess it up, like, it's a learning moment on camera. If I mess it up, I could own it. Because part of the thing about being an artist is that stuff doesn't come out. Sometimes it just doesn't work. But this accidentally worked. Or maybe not accidentally. Maybe it was just, it was going to work anyway. It was going to come out okay. But I definitely need more ink, more paint for the blue. So I'm reaching over and I'm getting my blue. I'm running out of cobalt blue. I'm sure if I ever run out, I'm gonna have to order, but I'm not gonna order cobalt. I'm gonna order ultramarine if I can, because I actually like ultramarine blue more. This cobalt, I thought it was French blue. I always thought it was French blue. I never even paid attention. The ultramarine blues that I've used before is a little bit brighter. This cobalt blue is a little, I don't know. It just feels a little darker than, a little grayer. That's not a bad thing necessarily, but I kind of like a little bit brighter, a little bit. So the light here around her, I want this area to be darker to make this the highest point of contrast. So what that's going to mean is that here this also needs to be dark, but the difference is that whatever is dark in here, the light sources like the hair that I'm leaving blank is going to need a mid-tone so that it's not as contrasty down here as it is up above. So I'm going to wet my brush, and I'm just going to very lightly just just take away some of that white. Okay. And now let's see if I can add a little texture here on the hair. Make it look a little bit more hair-like. That was not my phone. I like how this is turning out more than I expected. I was seriously worried. But I was willing to fail on camera. Because you kind of have to. Fortunately, it turned out okay, but you have to learn to fail on. You have to learn to fail. You have to acknowledge that things aren't. It's just not going to happen, and then you go through with it, and then you learn. And it's okay. But it turned out anyway. I was gonna, no matter what happened, I was gonna put up the video. So. And maybe I want to go all the way to the edge here. Okay, so that's the paint. I may do a little touch up here and there, but it's time for the line work. So again, I'm using this teal ink, and I'm going to then use the crow quill that I use because I like how thin it is and how sharp it is, like this one. I have lots of different nibs. My dad actually, for some reason, had a box full of nibs for a different type of dip pen, and he gave them to me because he wasn't going to use them. My dad draws a little bit. He was an architect for many, many years. I thought I was going to be an architect because my dad was an architect. You know, when you're a little kid, you look around and at all the people you admire or whatever, and you want to be. You don't know the world, you don't know anything. You just want to be. I guess you're going to be what your dad is. So I thought for a long time I was going to be an architect before I got into reading comic strips and then doing comic strips. And then I realized, hey, I could do comic strips for a living. Someone has to make the comic strips I'm reading. Then I changed my mind. I decided I was going to do comic strips for a living. After some years, many years of my dad being an architect, the work dried up. He couldn't get a job being an architect. Everything became digital. He tried to keep up with the changing times, but he was also used to designing full buildings himself. And architecture in the U.S. was not that way. It was more of an assembly line thing where you just get an architecture firm and then somebody just designs the bathrooms. And somebody is in charge of living spaces and things like that. And he was used to designing everything, and he didn't want a job where he was just doing one thing. He was on an assembly line job, and on top of that, it was big architecture firms like that. And he couldn't get a job just doing everything like the way he used to be able to do. So he was a little frustrated for a long time, not knowing what to do. And then I suggested to him, hey, there's a show in my studio called King of the Hill. And they're doing, and even on The Simpsons, you maybe you can try to get a job doing backgrounds because you're really good at perspective. You're an architect. It's like it should be super easy for you to just draw some background for some show or something. Why don't you try getting a job on Simpsons or King of the Hill or something? And so he submitted a portfolio full of architectural backgrounds that he had done, like not backgrounds, but like some like the like architects tend to you have to you draw the what the thing will look like, right? And then say for the client, this is what your thing is going to be. So he submitted that as his portfolio. He said, look, this is what I could do. And they gave him a background test to see if he could actually do backgrounds for a show. And of course, he was able to do those backgrounds. And then he got a job doing backgrounds for King of the Hill. Had nothing to do with me. I didn't get him the job. He didn't get the job because of the people who knew me or whatever it was. Got the job because he could do the job. All I did was suggest that he try. And then he spent a good 10 years doing, maybe, what, 5, 6 years? I don't know how long King of the Hill was on, I forgot. But he spent basically the full, almost a full run of seasons on King of the Hill doing backgrounds, and then eventually he ended up becoming the head background designer on King of the Hill. And he had fun doing it too. He was so proud of himself. It was one of his favorite jobs ever. He always wanted to be a creative, doing something creative. He wanted to, originally, when growing up, when he was younger, he wanted to do cartoons, I think. But his father, my grandfather, and he was living in El Salvador at the time. You know, I'm El Salvadorian, and he was living in El Salvador, and back and there in that country, even at the time, being anything other than an architect or a doctor or a lawyer is frowned upon. Like, everybody has to be a doctor, a lawyer, or architect. A real job, you know. My grandfather wouldn't let him be a cartoonist, so he became an architect. And then he spent his career, at the end of his career, because he retired after King of the Hill, he spent the last of his career doing something that is the closest thing he ever gotten to what he always wanted to do begin with, which is, you know, working on cartoons. I think that's great. He's retired now. People keep asking me about him at work and stuff because they knew him. A lot of people from King of the Hill ended up on Simpsons again, and vice versa. A lot of people from The Simpsons went to King of the Hill for a few years, and even just left. One of the people that my dad got along with really well was Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni, if you don't know who he is, he eventually became the head director of Clone Wars animated cartoon. And now he directed live action stuff like Mandalorian. And even back then in King of the Hill, when Dave Filoni was in King of the Hill, he was really into Star Wars. He was just like, he and a bunch of friends of his in King of the Hill were Star Wars obsessed. Utterly obsessed with Star Wars. My dad was really good friends with him. They used to mess around and play ping pong together, and Dave would call my father Pops. He'd say, "Hey, Pops." And my dad loved that Dave Filoni would call him Pops. He didn't realize that Dave was calling him old man, because that's just the way Dave Filoni is. He's just one of those guys who who is respectfully disrespectful, like he's just messing with you, kind of a guy. But my dad, the way he took it was he was calling him Pop. He was calling him Dad. That's the way that my dad took that. And in part is because I call my dad Pop. I don't call him Dad. I don't call him Father. I call him Pop. Hey, Pop, how you doing, Pop? And as far as my dad was concerned, Dave Filoni was calling my dad Pop also. He loved Dave Filoni. And honestly, I think Dave Filoni was calling him Pop as a term of endearment, really. Pops, I should say. But I personally never really got to know Dave Filoni all that well. I'm really happy for his success. I think it's great, if only because how well he treated my dad. And that's the thing, the goodwill, don't treat people bad. Goodwill goes a long way. Okay, I think that's it. I may want, after some of this dries, I'm going to come in with my kneaded eraser and dab out some of this pencil line, because I think it's too much. It's getting in the way. But otherwise, I think that's it. I was very, very, very concerned about this because of the way it was drawn. Like I said, it was a big, big struggle getting to the point of getting the drawing the way I wanted it to, but it turned out okay. I like the way that it came out. I think that's, you guys are seeing pretty much it, the way it's supposed to look like. I don't think I need to move too much, but I think that's it. So, all right. So someone's going to win this this postcard this month. I hope you liked the process. I hope you kind of liked some of the stories that I was telling, and I will talk to you next time. All right. Bye.